Hey guys, Tim with Leggari. There's this really cool project I've been working on for my wife. I sketched this up in Google SketchUp, and it's a vanity that I want to build for her in our master closet when she's out of town. I want to surprise her. So the goal is to put these two 9-inch cabinets here, standard cabinets, build a countertop for it with this cool indent for her to really lean up and get close to the mirror, and then also have a matching backdrop with lights coming out of it. Put a switch on the wall with some outlets here so she can really sit here in front of the mirror close. Right now it's kind of a sad sight. She sits on the floor and does her makeup, and it's kind of pathetic, I'll be honest with you. But I love her and I want to surprise her with this, and yeah, follow us along for this cool project. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to pull out the lights and get them ready for the vanity we're building. We just got these from like wayfair.com. They were 37 bucks a piece. I felt like it was cheap. We needed 2 of them. We need 16 lights to go around the vanity. And so I figured we'll just buy 2 of these, 37 bucks, it's cheap. We'll take it apart. You can buy these at Lowe's, at Home Depot. You can buy them in a lot of places. You're gonna be taking them apart if you end up buying them, so don't spend a lot of money. You're just looking for the hardware and these covers, these chrome covers. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna pull these off. These slide right off. That's what holds them in there. You can see it's just looks like a piece of aluminum. They just slide right over that. Really easy way to do it, actually. This thing should come off. Yep. And then we'll just take, there's a screw in here that's holding this onto these metal brackets. Okay, we had to pause for a second. It had this nut on the back, so it's kind of being a pain. Right here. This is really what we need. And then we'll have an electrician, a friend of ours that's an electrician. We're gonna have 2 strips of these. We'll have him hook these up with the ground. We'll show you how to do that later. But you're just looking for the basic hardware. Now, could you go make this, or could you go possibly put your own together? Yeah, but for $37 a set, it's pretty stinking cheap, and you have everything you need now. So we're going to use these and continue building the vanity. All right guys, now I'm building the base for the vanity. Very simple. I just cut around what I wanted my base to look like over the cabinets, and you'll see exactly what that's gonna look like, obviously, when it's done. I wish I would have made this, you know, have a little overhang on the inside, but that's okay. And I just put a bunch of brads in it all the way around, and then I cut. And now we're gonna do like we always do. I'm gonna fill in the edges with Bondo, get everything flat. I'll be able to fix this a little bit. We'll sand it back down, and then it'll be ready for the epoxy. Obviously with Bondo, you wanna wear a mask. The stuff smells terrible, but it's an incredible product. All-purpose Bondo. I'm gonna fill in that crack, and then we'll sand it all down. Again, and then that's the base. And then we'll show you how to do the top next so that it'll match. All right guys, now I'm working on the actual vanity part. You can kind of see the line. I set the mirror down and I traced it out. And this is actually going to be the whole wall part of the vanity. I'm gonna cut this off right here, and I'm gonna cut all of that off. And what this is this is 3 pieces of wood. So we have 3/4 inch right here, then we have a layer of 5/16 and another layer of 5/16. And there's a reason why we have to do multiple layers. You'll see that here in a little bit in the video. But I wanted to show you how I'm cutting this out. So what I did is I put them all 3 together. I traced out where I want my mirror and the whole upper vanity area, and I'm gonna cut it all together. I put some brad nails in it because it's easy to pull it apart. And so I'm just gonna slice all of this off, and then I'm gonna pull it apart and then just cut the top layer and then the second layer for the lights, and you'll see that here in a little bit. I just wanted to show you that I actually put brads in all 3 layers so that when I cut it, it's perfect. Okay guys, you can see that I have cut the top layer and I fit the mirror. That's how it's gonna be, and then obviously the vanity lights will go around it like this. And I'll show you why I have 3 layers. So the next thing I'm gonna do is lay out all the lights that you saw me take apart. And I'm gonna measure. I have, I believe, 16 bulbs, and now I'm going to measure and put them across this like I sketched up. Okay guys, I took the middle layer out and I cut out for the mirror on the top piece, and I also cut out for all of my lights. And now I'm going to remove that, and then I actually trace the holes so that when I remove this, you can see where I put the holes. And then on the middle piece that is sandwiched in between this bottom piece of wood and the top piece of wood right here, there's that middle piece, and we cut out trenches so that the wires can run in between these boards. And so we're gonna glue that piece down now that we've cut it out, and we will show you what that looks like. All right guys, I have put glue everywhere on this except for where I want to put the middle piece. I kind of screwed up on one of the pieces, so you'll see it's kind of spliced together, but I'll show you what that looks like. Okay guys, now you can see I just glued all of that down. I put a piece of wood right here with a clamp just to hold this whole side and just so the glue can dry. And again, I have my 3/4 inch piece of MDF, a piece of 5/16, which is glued down. I need to add some more weight in the middle here. And then I have this the middle layer cut out. I have a little trough cut out where my lights are going to be. And so the piece that has all of these holes right here, this will be the top layer that the lights will actually be sticking out of. And this is what we will do the epoxy on to look like the base. Hopefully this will all make more sense as the video progresses and you can kind of see the project coming together. I just want to show you what we're doing. All right guys, you can see that I've laid out the base of the vanity and also the top of the vanity. Now because this is a flimsy piece of wood, we wanted to go with something more solid, not like a particle board. We wanted to go with something like this because it cuts really nice. You can sand it, it doesn't fall apart as easily. You can see that we've patched some places, we've re-sanded. The only part on the vertical vanity that's going to be exposed is the face and the inside edge. So I've really focused on those 2 things. I don't care about the back, the sides, that's all gonna be covered. And then same thing with the base. The only thing that's gonna be exposed on the base, and you'll see when the final install is done, is the front here and about 5 inches back on each side and the top. So I don't have to worry about the back over here. And I actually had to put some brad nails in this to keep it down because it warps. It wants to move and warp and try to flex a lot. So to keep it flat, remember you want to coat things that are perfectly level and flat. We stuck it down to this MDF. And we're gonna constantly wipe the edges as it's setting up so that it doesn't stick to this wood too bad. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our primer on. And of course, this is our epoxy primer that bonds to everything. It is absolutely bulletproof. You cannot get this off. This is not a cheap paint. This is not something that we go get at Home Depot. This is something that we actually provide you with in our countertop kits and our floor kits as well. It pigments well, and I'm telling you right now, it does not come off.
Again, guys, you want to use a primer that really soaks into the wood and actually creates a chemical bond. It's really important that unless you're doing a piece of art or something that's just gonna be hanging on the wall, things that you won't be using, you can use paint and stuff to pigment it. Anything that you actually need to use and is going to get wear and tear, you want to use something that creates a chemical bond between the epoxy and the substrate. And that's why we're using this. We'll probably actually have to get a paintbrush and brush that on. Perfect. Now, we'll just wait for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe even less, and we'll mix up our epoxy and get going on this. Okay guys, because we had to staple this down to this MDF, I don't want it to be a huge pain in the butt to have to remove this wood. So one thing I am going to do is caulk on the inside of all of these rings, because it's one thing if you have to cut some epoxy off this wood on the edge to try to pull the piece of wood up. It's another thing to try to gouge out and dig out every little one of these holes. So I'm gonna try to minimize that and just seal where the two pieces of wood touch each other. All right guys, now if you happen to get any of this caulking on the piece that you want to coat, you have to wipe it off. You may even have to use a little bit of acetone, reprime it. You don't want caulking anywhere where you want the epoxy. They will not go together. Epoxy does not bond to caulking. So now I'm just gonna wipe out. I'm gonna probably get a different glove on, and I'm just going to smooth out those and push it into that crack just to make sure that it gets a nice coat on it. All right, guys, I really like where this is going, and I know how easy these holes are gonna be to deal with, so I decided to do the outside edge as well. Obviously not the inside edge, because I don't wanna have to cut, sand, any of that. We're just gonna try to minimize it sticking to this wood by wiping it a lot. But we like this, so we're gonna caulk this edge as well. Probably a little too much. I'm trying not to let it hit on top of the board, just the edge. And I'll probably have to wipe that top edge of the board. There you go, you get the idea. Okay guys, got all of our colors mixed up. We got black, silver, snow white, titanium, and coffee. So the first thing we're gonna do is just put a black base coat over everything. And we are trying to mimic some current granite that I have at my house. This is for a vanity to surprise my wife. She's been out of town, so let's see how good of a job we can do. First thing I want to do is just get the whole thing coated. I'm just going to brush it on everywhere, try to get the whole thing coated. Again, not worried about the sides as much as I am in the front here. And down the side just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay this out as a base coat, and then we're going to drizzle probably tons and tons and tons and tons of little drizzles of other colors into this as soon as we have a nice thick coat on everything. Okay guys, we're gonna let this level out just for a couple minutes, and then we'll start adding all of our effects into it. All I'm doing here, guys, I'm just trying to interrupt all the hard lines. And what I want to do is add some color on top of this, but I want to blend into a silver, blackish color. That's why I'm just trying to make a different colored base coat first. Now I got some more black here. We don't want the lines perfect. We want them going in the same direction roughly, but we'll have a couple that'll just be going a little weird on us. Now I'm gonna take my white, and guys, a lot of this stuff is just trial and error. If you do enough stuff with the same color of metallics, honestly, you can't screw it up. This is not an exact science here. I want pockets of white on kind of my edges of black. I don't want to interrupt the white too much. I want to leave it as kind of its own little pocket. So I'm going to try to go on each side of it. And you'll notice it'll kind of leave like a little bit of titanium, guys. This is just a little bit lighter than the black. I'm not going to blend this. I want fine lines going through here. I might blend them a little after looking at it. Again, I'm just trying to add another color. You can see how they look, guys, if you just drip them. They kind of have this cool natural look to them as well, those drips do. And now we want to add a little bit of brown to it. But what I picture in my mind is just a nice thick, just very random places. I don't want a lot of brown, guys, but I think I do want to blend this just a little bit. I'm gonna do, again, I'm gonna try to hit more the outside of it. I think one last thing I'll do is I'm gonna take some black, and I think I want to do some fine streamers all the way, all over this board, because our theme is black for this board. Okay guys, I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out. Now, I just wanna get some of this epoxy out. I'm just gonna suck it up. It'll probably take me a little bit of time. A lot of time, apparently. But this is all I'm gonna be working on for the next little bit, is sucking out as much epoxy as I can from these holes that are really, really thick. All right, guys, it's the next day. Looks awesome. Now what we're gonna do is attempt to rip it off this board. Like every process, we've learned a lot. Tyler had a great idea that instead of actually putting it directly on the wood, is pull a piece of plastic really tight and then brad nail it on top of the plastic onto the wood so that you could just pull it right off. Genius idea. We didn't do it, so that's neat. Now what we're gonna do, since we caulked the sides, they actually cut really easy. It's just this inside edge that's giving us issues. So we dremeled it a little bit. Now what we're gonna do is bore out these holes again so that this is easy to pull off. So that's pretty easy. Obviously we don't have to worry about the holes either. So we're gonna re-drill all those holes out, get this thing off, and then we'll put it on the other board, measure, and bolt down the lights. Okay guys, we managed to peel it up. You can see there's all sorts of junk on the back. We're gonna need to sand it. See, it peeled up awesome. It looks great. We just wanna sand the edges
and we want to sand the back. So we put these down because, again, the epoxy is not fully cured yet, so we just want to set it on something soft, and now we will palm sand this and get it back to the way it was before we coated it. All right, guys, kind of messy. What I want to do is I want to test the strips just before I put it in that, because by the time we get everything glued together, glued onto the wall, we want to know that this thing works. We don't want it to be the first time we plug it in when it's on the wall and set up. So we basically just have an extension cord we hooked up. It's running into a dimmer, and then we've hooked up the pigtails to the lights, and now we'll just turn it on. So they work, they're on a dimmer. You can tell 16 of these is gonna be absolutely ridiculous. But they work, this is good. So you'll wanna test all the strips, every single one of these, and not install it unless it's good to go. Okay guys, now I'm just going to, you can see I marked for all of the lights. Now I'm going to screw them back down, just like we took them off the strip in the beginning. Now I'm going to screw them down to our surface right now. It's kind of a little bit nerve-wracking because these are ceramic. They actually can break. Matter of fact, one of them slid off the table, hit the concrete, broke. We got another one coming. This has turned into quite the project. But I'm happy about that. They have a little bit of wiggle room for when we put the face on. And yeah, pretty straightforward from here on out. I'll actually bring that over just to make sure we're kind of on the right track. Wow, that actually fits better than I thought. So we're just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna push it all the way down quite yet, but this will be ready to go. Okay, here's all the white. You can tell we switched lights. We went to plastic instead of ceramic, but they're all pretty much connected. We tested them, they're ready to go. All the wires are coming out of the board, out the back, and yeah, awesome. Okay guys, now we're happy with the connections, everything's bolted down. Now we're going to glue down the very top of our piece with structural adhesive slash sealant. Believe it or not, a lot of sealants are also amazing glues. This actually calls itself an adhesive, so I recommend anything like this. You can use a Gorilla Glue. This is just kind of easy to use. We've used it a lot before, and you can kind of control where you're going with it. We'll probably go on the inside of this as well. Okay, this is the same stuff, guys, just a different color. So now I'm gonna wash my hands because I have a bunch of junk on it, and then pick that board up, and we're just gonna set it right on there. Perfect. Now we're just gonna put a bunch of weight all over this. We'll put some towels down, some rags down, and then we'll keep weight on it all night. Okay guys, now we're gonna glue down the mirror.
Okay guys, took the weights off last night, and if we wanted to, we could actually tape this off and flood it with another clear coat of epoxy. I'm happy with it. It's kind of a rush job because it's a surprise. But what I want to do is I want to clean up this edge where the mirror meets the wood. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to take tape and we're going to tape up onto the wood about a 1/16 of an inch. About a 1/16 of an inch. And then we're also going to tape onto the mirror about a 1/16 of an inch. And I'm gonna leave that gap right here open, and then I'm gonna caulk that. You'll see that I'll caulk that, and I'll just pull a nice tight bead with my finger and then pull the tape. So I'll tape this off and then I'll show you what that'll look like. Okay guys, you can see we've got it all taped off, and there's just a small gap. Now what you're gonna wanna do is just take your finger, probably your pinky. If there's any gaps, you may need to put a little bit more in there. And I'm using a black silicone. One of the reasons why is because if you use like if you use anything other than a silicone, it won't look high gloss and it won't match kind of the look that we're going for. Everything is very shiny, so we want it to look shiny. Now we can just pull the tape. Notice how awesome this looks, guys. It's just a perfect straight line. Now your eyes won't be drawn to any kind of wood or anything discolored. It's just a nice crisp line. And there you have it. That's how to clean up that final edge. Okay guys, just some last minute touches. The metal, I don't know, shrouds, I guess, that we took off, we just slide those back on and it hides the whole seam, the hole, and everything. And it looks really, really clean. Okay guys, what we've done is I had these two 9-inch cabinets here. I just set the top right on the cabinets. You're familiar with this piece, obviously, that we did. And then I set the mirror up. We used some adhesive thin set backing, just a glue, put it all over the back and just smashed it against the wall. And of course the cords are going in the wall. They're actually coming out underneath here. Now what we're doing, I thought I needed to caulk this bottom seam. I thought that was gonna look a lot worse, but it looks really clean. So the only thing I'm going to caulk is just right along the wall here, just because I don't like this gap, it bothers me. And so I'm going to caulk that and clean that up a little bit. And then once I'm done with that, I will get everything put back in and give you a final walkthrough of everything and just how it turned out. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We had a fun time making it for you. Don't forget to stay up to date with all the new techniques and videos we're releasing by subscribing to our YouTube channel, subscribing and liking our Facebook page, Instagram. Again, thank you. This was fun.